Warning.
Chewy.
It gets me pungent chewy. I was going to save it, and I'll probably bring it back up on the Star Trek podcast, JJ. But I saw a GIF of Pike, and we left it a cliffhanger because last time we recorded, I think we didn't know what his engage was going to be.
Yeah, that's true.
It is Hit It.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
Makes me think of the Blues Brothers.
He looks more smarmy
Does.
than the Blues Brothers when he sits back in the chair in this GIF that I'm looking at.
Okay.
Let's see if I can find it, but it's probably not a good idea to do right now because then I gotta go through a Twitter stream of however long ago it was. But welcome back, We Were Gamers, episode 141. I can remember it this time.
Well done.
I'm gonna put an applause sound effect.
Thank you. We deserve it, honestly.
We do. I think we do. There's JJ.
Hello.
Michael.
Hey, everybody.
I'm Andy. We're back as a crew doing normal crew things. I mean, pretty normal on this podcast for us all to talk about how our cars don't work.
Wait, is that normal?
It feels...
At the very least, it's a recurring feature.
It feels like the adulting minute is less homeowners minutes and more what broke on whose car. Yeah, recurring features, right, Michael? I was correct. Our Ford SUV had another pan leak, which is the third one in a 5-year-old vehicle. Go explain how that's not a defect of the machine. I don't understand it.
I mean, hey, they're paying for it, right, I guess?
I guess until 100,000 miles, they'll keep paying for it, so...
Guess at 100,000 miles, you're getting a different car.
Or learning how to replace
them. At 99,000 miles, you're going to drill a hole in the pan you had.
Yeah, seriously.
Drive over a lot of rough terrain. Yeah, good point. There's still a few outstanding issues, but I might get my car... Let's roll back for a second. JJ and I we're without cars this past week.
Yeah, thankfully mine was a relatively quick visit.
Yeah. I also... little TIL moment with our electric vehicle. Would you like to know that you can jumpstart an electric car?
That makes sense.
Yeah, that is not super surprising.
It makes sense to me only because the thing you're jumpstarting is electric anyway. So of course you could use electricity to jumpstart it, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You can't really charge it up. The drive batteries are not what jumpstarts. I guess they use this 12 volt, like a 12 volt in your normal car, to manage the electronic systems. And then when you charge...
Is it a separate starter battery?
Basically, yeah, it's a starter battery for the car.
Huh.
So that your computers and everything else, it can shut off the lithium or whatever the car batteries are made out of. I assume it's lithium cells.
Yeah, lithium ion.
And then maintain all the functions off that little 12 volt, which gets charged whenever you charge the car. The 12 volt in our electric car was 7 years old, so that was time to get replaced.
Seems reasonable.
Yep, so it was a fun week for our vehicles. Hopefully we're on the mend over here without a crazy amount of cash having been outflowed. Did they ever figure out what was wrong with your car?
They did, yeah. There was I noticed at when I had left my office for lunch at one point, I noticed there was a nice little pool under the car, but I could not be sure what it was because it could have been like the air conditioner, as happens.
Taste it.
Yeah, so I did that, which maybe you shouldn't do.
Did it not taste like water?
Oh, no, it tasted absolutely not like water.
Then you know that it's a problem.
Yeah, but, you can also tell by the color.
Sure.
If I had dipped, say, a piece of paper in it, that might have solved that issue without potentially allowing myself to be poisoned with toxic chemicals.
You know what? We've eaten battery acid on this podcast, so it can't be that bad.
What's this wee stuff?
Not intentionally.
But anyway, yes, I did do the taste test, and it tasted sweet, and so I knew that meant that it was coolant.
Yep.
And took the next day, took the car in after noting that also, yes, it was continuing to leak out at home.
Oh my!
And the color was certainly the wrong color. So I took it into the shop, and they're like, "Oh, okay, we'll take a look at it." But we're pretty sure also, based on what you told us, there's definitely a part of this coolant system that has been. It's not like it breaks all the time, but it breaks relatively frequently, especially given that my car is approaching the 100,000 mile mark. I'm at 97,000 and change. So they're like, yeah, it's probably this. We'll see. Anyway, so they called me back later and let me know. They're like, yep, it was the thing we thought. We have one in stock already. It'll be done by the end of the day. And it was.
Well, that's not terrible. Get it turned around fast.
Yeah, I was actually impressed that they had it in stock and did it that day. And then when I asked them, I'm like, so this part breaks relatively frequently. Are they like, it's a plastic tank, essentially, which was leaking.
Sure.
And I was like, so they're metal ones or ones that don't leak as easily, thicker plastic, something like that. He's like, nope, no one makes them. These parts break on all kinds of cars. It's the same part. They never fix it. It's fine. And I'm like, it doesn't seem fine. But it is the same one my car came with, so I guess it's no worse than it was.
My goodness.
Seems weird that there wouldn't be an upgraded version of that part.
Wow. Did you know that coolant was sweet because of Top Gear?
I don't know if I learned it there or not. I assimilated that knowledge from somewhere, though, because I knew for sure before I tested it that if it tasted sweet, it was.
That's what they taught you in engineering school, I assume. Speaking of that,
yeah.
I'm not fully caught up, but that new Top Gear series is kind of interesting and maybe good.
Yes, people should watch the new season. It's out. The first episode is good, and the second and third episodes, which is a two-parter, is a travel special and is very good.
Colombia.
They go to Colombia. Yes, they do.
Oh.
In the jungle.
Yes. With, I won't say all the cars are beaters, but they're not nice and new.
Yeah. They're not exactly what I would have taken into the jungle, maybe.
There's a couple of them that seem like reasonable choices, and then there's one it's like, why? But anyway, people should go see that on Amazon streaming with your Prime subscription. It's good. I watched both parts. Liked it very much.
I agree. All right. Speaking of streaming, just real quick, that Punisher show was more Punisher.
Okay.
In case people are into that. If you're not into that, you're not going to be into this.
I think that Punisher series was well regarded, right?
I think the first one was. It dealt with a lot of more PTSD style psychological issues as well than that this one does not. This one focuses a little bit more on fundamentalist themes, principles of what you think is right and wrong. Last season was definitely more like, I know what's right and I know what's wrong, and here are the bad guys. And this one's like, well, I don't know who the bad guys are all the time in this. And Frank Castle, you're not really a good guy, it turns out. So
that's very in line with the Punisher, though, right?
Yeah, I don't think that it's out of line with what the Punisher has been written as in the past. And I know that there's a lot of stuff outside of the Punisher that might be worth talking about on something like Waypoint, but not here and today. So we'll just say if you liked that old one, you'll like this new one.
Well, I have a quick streaming update also. I watched that new Netflix movie, Polar.
Okay. Also very in line with the Punisher.
Yes. It is extremely R-rated.
Yeah.
But it was good. Mads Mikkelsen is a assassin who is getting ready to retire, and some people are trying to kill him for his pension, essentially.
Mads Mikkelsen does John Wick 2020.
Yeah, kind of, but he's old and he acts old. Or not like acts old, but he's like, he is an old man compared with all these people who are trying to kill him. So you kind of get the like old guy vengeance theme.
I see. The Gran Torino a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
So I like that very much. It is extremely R-rated. So, violence and sex and all that stuff. So.
Well, Michael, you're now on the hook to do a streaming update because.
Just because.
Well, yeah, we did one.
I don't know if I have one right off the cuff.
What are you doing with your life? All right. Let's do our thing. Let's do our new thing. We got to find it. We've come up with the Adulting Minute. We did a good job there. We finally landed on Fantasy Football. That was pretty good.
Yep.
The Component Class was an excellent choice. We got to come up with something better than me doing this weird intro to our quick hits on news. If you have an idea for that, podcast at wewergamers.com, and we'll choose the first one that comes in.
Ooh.
Oh, God, no. No, probably not.
We better email one.
Michael emails the first one before this one releases on Wednesday. Right. That's funny. Reminder for everybody also, since we did the little podcast at wewergamers.com there, we are also now on YouTube, youtube.com, search We Were Gamers. We've got all our Star Trek episodes that are there. The most recent episodes are there. Some backlog of episodes will go up there. Like, if you're into Component Class, we'll organize them into playlists. You should check that out.
Yeah, they'll all get up there eventually.
I want to know, before I talk about my news story is this. They are making I assume Bluetooth. 8BitDo is the company.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. They make retro stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of cool wireless controllers too.
Okay. Good. I did not know them before this article. I looked them up and said they make retro stuff. So you knew them before this for making controllers and things?
Yes.
Okay. They are making a Sega Genesis controller for the Switch.
Ooh.
What?
Yes.
So that you can play the Sonic games the way they were originally intended to be played.
That is the gift that came with it. That's for sure. It's people playing that Sonic game on a Switch mobile with the Bluetooth Genesis controller. I'm going to do a hot take for you.
Okay.
I owned a Genesis for a while. I don't anymore. It was a Nomad, the original Switch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the Genesis controller sucks.
Yeah, it's not the best controller, that's for sure. In one hand, good for them and people that want this, I guess. I have no desire to have that at all.
Correct. But it sounds like my take is lukewarm. I thought it would be hotter.
I mean, I don't have enough memory of the Genesis controllers to be able to dispute you on that, even if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I think the thing that is telling is that a lot of those 8BitDo controllers they've released like wireless controllers for the SNES and the NES Classic as well in the past, and a bunch of stuff like that. And then they eventually release versions of those controllers with analog sticks so that you can use them to play modern games also.
I see.
And that always seems to me to be the telling thing of like, actually, people just want controllers that you can play everything with.
Yeah.
In which case, then an accurate Genesis controller is double useless.
Right. Yeah. It
doesn't have 4 buttons. It only has 3. Right.
The Genesis controller has 6 buttons. In fact. Yeah. That's why it sucks.
You're right.
Two rows of 3.
2 rows of 3.
Okay.
And they are.
Yeah.
And thinking about them now, that is a god awful idea.
So your L and Rs are like also handicapped because you have to use your thumbs.
Was an error, and I don't think there was an LNR. There was no LNR.
On the SNES there is, though.
On the SNES. I don't think there was one on the Genesis. Was there?
No, there
Michael?
wasn't. I'm saying it's the same number of buttons. They've just moved the LNRs to your thumb.
Yeah, sure. That's what I'm saying, and that's why I said the Genesis controller sucks. The ergonomics of that is just dumb. Like,
agreed.
Why 6 buttons? They did it just to have more buttons, rather than thinking about it. Anyway. Okay, well...
Perhaps Sega did what Nintendo didn't.
Nintendo don't continue on this story, because it's supposed to be quick hits.
Dad jokes.
Mm-hmm.
We got them.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to interrupt that because Nintendo don't reminded me. I think that the Switch is the perfect gaming system, but I have a bad feeling that I want one thing that will never happen. I want it to be compatible with UPnP servers.
Yeah, I would not hold my breath for that.
It would be the ultimate system of all time if you could just set it on that little kickstand, connect to your UPnP, play little videos from there, or whatever else you wanted to. Because, wow. Okay, I'm off topic. It's not my news time anymore. It's somebody else's. Michael?
Yeah, so what I found was interesting and is, I guess, tangentially related to the news, but the news story was only what got me to what I found to be the more interesting part. So you guys might have seen an article from a week or so ago that was going around about a gold-plated Wii that got sent to Buckingham Palace as part of a promotional stunt.
What?
So this happened in 2009.
Years ago. Yeah, this was a long time
2009.
ago.
THQ.
Oh, okay. I thought someone
THQ
sent this this week.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
THQ sent a gold-plated Wii to Buckingham Palace to promote their Big Family Games game. And for whatever reason, it never got signed for when it arrived at the palace. So they shipped it back to THQ, and it wound up in the hands of one of the employees who turned around and sold it to a collector. And so years passed, nothing ever came of this until it resurfaced again in the last couple of weeks as having fallen into the hands of one of the people who runs a website called consolevariations.com.
Ooh.
And Console Variations is apparently devoted to documenting in one place all the variations of every console put out by Nintendo, Atari, Sega, Sony, Microsoft, and Neo Geo.
Wow.
There's gotta be some missing there.
It's basically just a big online library of all these super random one-off console variations from all the major players.
It's like those history guys when they go out and find rare copies of games and then ROM them so that they're not forgotten or lost.
Yeah, the video game, I think is it the Video Game History Archive or something like that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, they do good work, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so did somebody get in trouble for this gold-plated Wii?
No, so everything that happened was completely above board, right? The package wasn't signed for, so it got sent back. It wound up in the hands of an employee. However they decided internally at THQ, this was the employee that got it. THQ went away as a company, so the employee just wound up with this 24-karat gold-plated Wii. Found a collector for it, and then I guess it changed hands a time or two.
That is the best and the worst kind of news, where it is like pure trivia, but also like super interesting.
Yeah, it's just this little story that I saw pop up the other day, and the story itself is interesting, but the trove of this website is pretty fantastic.
I think that the one-off consoles are cool, and I also think that the themed consoles are cool. Like, the Zelda themed consoles. I mean, Nintendo's especially.
I was going to say, do you like those limited edition ones that Sony does for like Kingdom Hearts 3 or Black Ops 4 or whatever.
Right.
Nintendo does this with their 3DSs like almost all the time.
Yeah, they do.
I'm into
They
that.
used to do that with their 3DSs when the 3DS was a thing.
Shh, man, don't kill my dreams. All right, JJ, what's your quick hit?
I have a quick hit here on an update that was recently pushed out to Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire.
Oh boy.
They added a turn-based mode to a game that is real-time combat with pause.
So real-time combat with pause is like Dragon Age 1, right?
Yeah, like Dragon Age 1 and the Baldur's Gate series of games on PC from the past.
Where essentially a lot of combat is like cue the next action the character's going to do, unpause, wait for them to do the action, cue the next pause, cue the next action they're going to do, unpause. Especially in boss fights, maybe?
Yeah, it definitely matters more in boss fights than, various encounters. But there's a lot of stuff that a real-time game then doesn't bother managing. It's like they don't bother having a stat for like how fast you can go. They don't bother having a stat for like, how many actions you get a turn or those sort of things. Because it's just like, well, you get your actions per time slice, right?
Sure.
Well, how do you divide that up into a turn-based thing where you only get one turn before everyone else gets a turn? Which I think is crazy. And based on, I've been playing that game, sort of segueing here. I don't understand how you can cut this game up into turn-based combat without like big problems. So I'm curious to try it out because apparently in order to try it, you have to start a new game from the beginning.
I was going to ask, how are they doing that? Because is it an option? Can you go in when you start your new game and say, oh, so you don't have to do it. You can say, I want.
And it is listed as a beta. So I'm not sure what that means. But like things I can say about the beginning of that game and even like the middle parts of that game, there are a lot of encounters where you have like your little party of up to 5, and the monsters are many more than 5 in some cases. You're fighting like, 15 spiders or a spider that dies and spawns 2 other spiders, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And if all of those spiders got a turn in between my guys getting a turn, that's a lot of spiders.
Right, because in a real time you could run your guys one direction and flank them or something. Or
potentially like wipe out all the spiders before they get to act.
I see.
Yeah.
Because like I had a fireball that was already coming and the guy died just in time. It spawns the spiders, the fireball hits, and they all die. Like you can do stuff like that. Where in a turn-based combat, you are not able to do that because they're guaranteed to get an action between you. Which then, makes combat take a lot longer, which I don't know if that's good. The combat can definitely be over very quickly in this game, which is a downside, I guess. You don't have to spend a lot of time thinking and using all your skills when your guys can just like run up and 5 people dogpile the one giant enemy, right?
Right.
I've used strategies like cast a giant AoE silence and then run in and hit the dragon very hard so that it's at half health by the time it takes an action, kind of a thing. So I don't know. I'm curious to try that out. I'm blown away at the idea that they're like, what if we changed the entire core combat of the game to something else in a patch?
That's a weird patch.
That's a big patch.
Yeah. You'd think that would be DLC or something.
Right. And, they do have, there's DLC released for this game. Their DLC roadmap is complete as far as I know. And that's just baffling to me. I don't understand. So I'm curious to try it out. I wonder if maybe some of the fights that later on or in the middle of the game might get kind of overwhelming, especially since at the beginning of that game you can be pretty weak if you're not min-maxing and that kind of stuff. I wonder if maybe it makes the kind of easygoing nature of the character building in that game a little more stringent.
If you're not a holy slayer.
Well, that's what I chose, but I wonder if your like random ranger barbarian hybrid might be less viable. Or maybe their class balance is really good and everything works. I don't know.
I tended to like the Dragon Age style, Mass Effect maybe style. Mass Effect's kind of that style, yeah.
Mass Effect is a shooter, though.
Yeah, but it's still rolling dice on stuff back there.
It is. And real-time with pause combat, to be clear, is completely dice-based. There are to hit rolls and damage rolls and all that stuff. It's just behind the scenes. And, you can turn it on in the combat log if you want.
Knights of the Old Republic, also kind of real-time combat, which is dice-based. I think... I don't know that I have a preference between the two. I think that those are different games. You've got two games in one package here.
And that's the thing that I think is the craziest part, because I also like Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2, which are pure turn-based games and are really fun and great games. But you could not just all of a sudden make the combat happen simultaneously in those games. All your characters would die instantly.
Do you have a preference there, Michael?
I think I lean towards the real time with pause. I had the first Dragon Age and really liked that.
I think the thing that people don't like about it is that it is very fast.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very tough to control that kind of an interface where you have to select your people with the mouse and move them around. And you can't ever have a game like that on a console.
Oh, definitely not.
No, it wouldn't work.
So I'm maybe that's it kind of makes it a PC only type of a game.
So is this signaling the PS4 launch of this game or I think it's too big a game for the Switch.
I would assume that maybe they're pointing towards potentially doing a console release in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It is listed as a beta, so I think I'll finish my playthrough here and then maybe swap over and check it out for a while, just because I'm curious.
Close to done, you think?
I've started doing some of the DLC quests and stuff, so I'm definitely on the downslope. It has been pretty great so far.
How many hours is that to kind of get to that downslope, or if you didn't get the DLC?
I think I was looking at how long to beat and stuff, and they're saying that the main quest is 50 hours or something total. I'm not sure how much of the time I've spent actually is that, since I feel like I've done more side stuff than the main stuff. The side stuff has been more fun in a lot of cases than the main stuff anyway. So going around being a pirate or an anti-pirate or...
Wait. An anti-pirate? Isn't that just being the law?
Well, yeah, in some cases the pirates are doing things that suck, so you want to stop them. But in some cases they're doing stuff that's good. You got to pick and choose,
Sounds like vigilantism there, man.
There's a lot of factions. You got to support the right ones.
Speaking of hours,
how do we spend them?
Smash just keeps going.
Oh no, I thought we were close to done.
World of Light just keeps going. So, spoiler alert. I'm just going to throw it out there. If you have not played World of Light and you don't want to know what the end of the game looks like, don't listen to this segment. I beat the bad guy.
That's good.
At first you beat the Galeem, the Lord of Light, and you're like, I beat the bad guy, and then you're like, oh no, the bad guy is actually the other guy. And we played that music last episode or the episode before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we thought, oh, it's the hero music as he runs to the tower to defeat the real bad guy. So I beat that guy, and then there's another world that opens up there, guys.
Oh, no.
It's just as big as the last one.
They're doing there's another world inside this world, inside this world.
So
gotta go deeper.
So
how many turtles are all the way down?
You get another cutscene, and turns out Galeem and Darkhan are now fighting for control, and the fighters you have freed notice that they are just vying for control of this world, and you get another map, and this is actually really cool, and I dig how they did this. There are spirits on this map, and something I did not notice before was in the light world, the spirits were white, and in the dark world, the spirits were black. And so on this map, if you defeat a spirit of the light, there's a background to the map that shifts one way or the other. So if you go and you defeat all the light spirits, dark wins. If you go defeat all the dark spirits, light wins. Both of those screens make you lose the game.
Of course they do.
Middle ground.
So you have to kill them or defeat them. You're not killing them, right? You're freeing them. One, then the other, then one, then the other, then one, then the other.
How far in each direction can you go?
You can push pretty far. You can go. You don't have to do one then the other. You could do like 5 and then 5 and then 5 and then 5.
Okay, I was just gonna say, man, that's a lot of walking back and forth.
Yeah, but the distance gets pretty far, especially after you defeat the like mini sub bosses, and more areas open up with more spirits to fight. It just doesn't end.
Maybe it's the kind of game that isn't meant to end.
I really hope World of Light ends. I need to put this game down. It's too bad that it's fun. That's a terrible thing to say about a video game.
Is that the first time someone's ever said, man, it sucks that this game is fun?
It does suck that this is fun. I took a break from it, though. I'd had to take a break from it. I'm like, my hands some days are just too tired to fight well in this game. You know? The quick reactions are just not there, especially in boss fights. Sometimes the boss fights can be long, and if your hands get tired at the end, then you don't react quick enough, and then you lose on that one hit or whatever. And that can be not frustrating in a like throw your switch kind of way, but can be frustrating in the time lost and like you don't want to do it again for a day or two.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah. So that's enough about Smash for the people now returning to us. But I did take a break from that to try out another game I want to tell you guys about, or ask you guys about for a second. Do either of you, I know Michael, you used to play Record Keeper.
Yeah.
JJ, you and I both played that Fire Emblem free-to-play game.
Oh, yeah.
Do you keep a regular free-to-play game on your phone that you just have going? Like, that's your thing?
I had that. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I still have Record Keeper.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to be really into Puzzle and Dragons several years ago. I fell off of that, and then I fell off of the Fire Emblem one, and I don't currently have one right now.
I think you and I fell off of Fire Emblem about the same time.
Yep.
When they ran out of story stuff the first time, I think.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah, and then it was like, I'm good.
I played for a bit longer through some of their like events and stuff, but then I was like, you know what? No, this is just going to be more of this. I'm done.
Yeah. It became pretty clear what their release roadmap looked like. And real Fire Emblem was just as good, if not better. It was cool to play like Tika and Viserion and all those people together. I have never ascribed to the theory that you like just keep a game on your phone that is a free-to-play game to keep you busy all the time. I think if it's fun, it's fun. Like maybe, Michael, you think about Record Keeper and it's fun enough to keep it on your phone.
Yeah.
So I got dragged into a free-to-play game because it was skinned with some Star Trek.
Oh?
Yes.
Okay.
A release last year in November, I believe. I just saw an ad for it a few days ago. Star Trek Fleet Command.
Is this also a card game in the way that these other ones have been? Are
No.
you feeding ships to your ships to level them up?
No. No, not.
You have to blow up the Enterprise to get a better Enterprise.
No, not really, no. It's more styled after, I'm say styled after very loosely here, a 4X game.
Okay, so maybe the like closer to the Clash of Clans style of game?
Yeah, probably more like that.
And you gotta send them against people?
No. No. It's styled a little bit more 4X. It's also a persistent universe. So your base and your ships exist all the time, whether you're logged in or not. And that is the cool part and the downfall of this game. it's so you have a base, like a star base. In the star base is all your buildings, quote unquote. Like there's an academy, there's an operations center, there are refineries and generators and science research centers, just like a 4X style game. It has a research tree. You can upgrade your ships in the research tree. You can upgrade your base in the research tree. You have ships. Ships have to have dry docks. The first couple ships I had, I've never seen them before in Star Trek. They just seemed made up for this game, maybe.
Okay.
You do missions. The missions were kind of cool. You fly around space and you have to either blow up enemies. Like there's just mobs, you know. The game looks very pretty, especially zoomed in. There's a lot of cool graphics and stuff like that. You get to run into all the people. It's just set in the Abramsverse, the B universe with Chris Pine Kirk and all those guys, and you run into all them.
Oh, okay, so it's like
plausible deniability.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, and this is after the first movie. So the first couple missions, you're actually tracking down the survivors of the Nerude, the Romulan ship that came through with Spock.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can choose to hand them over to the Romulan Empire. You can choose to hand them over to the Starfleet. You can choose to give them some of them to the Klingons. And you actually earn rep with factions, and rep with factions helps you unlock faction-specific ships. So, like, if you want the Enterprise, you got to have
enough rep with the Starfleet to get
right. If you want those things, so that part was cool and engaging. Kind of building up your buildings for the first couple hours maybe is kind of engaging as well. Going around exploring space is kind of cool, and all of it holds up for a little while, I think, until you kind of realize how on rails it is. And then the free-to-play stuff starts to kick in. So I got maybe 10 hours into it, and then the timers start to kick in. Oh, I'm upgrading this, and now it takes an hour instead of 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I only thought there were 3 resources in the game, but now I want to build level 10 ships, and I have to go find 3 new types of resources that don't exist yet in the sectors of space that I've been allowed to go to.
You could pay $5.99 and that timer would end right now, and you would get free resources.
Sure, yeah, you could. And another good way to get resources is to go mine them in space. But if you're level 10, your ships can get blown up by other ships. Let me tell you how many times your ships get blown up by other ships if you go try to mine things in space.
Is it all 100% of the time?
It's if you leave them for more than 30 minutes, it's exactly 100% of the time. So you get to that point where you realize, like, I can't just focus on economy. It's not a 4X in that instance where you're like, I choose research to be my thing, or I choose shipbuilding to be my thing, and I have designed my... No. You can't upgrade the shipyard until you upgrade the academy. You can't upgrade the academy until you upgrade the thing, and it's all on timers. Which really sinks, because the music in it is all Michael Giacchino music from Star Trek. They paid for that.
Oh, nice.
They paid for all the actors' pictures, cool. Right? You know?
I have a question, though. Are you some kind of monster who plays mobile games with the sound on?
I do when I'm checking them out to talk about on this.
Okay. And not like if you're, in public or...
No. Let's clarify this. After about 30 minutes, I heard all the music this game had to offer.
Okay.
So then it got turned off because I said, that's cool. I have all those soundtracks.
Okay. It's very cool that they licensed like the good stuff, though. That's like pretty rare for mobile games, I feel.
They did a really good job licensing this game. They did a really good job skinning this game. It is... I'm very surprised at how pretty it is, considering the scale of it. It goes down to planets. You can zoom all the way out to this like tactical view where ships are just green, red, and blue dots and yellow dots. And it all looks pretty all the way up. But then you just get into that it's so on rails and it's all currency on top of other currency, and I just lose track, and then it becomes too free to play. So thank you, Star Trek Fleet Command, for 10 fun hours.
That's not too bad. I mean, 10 hours on a mobile game could be pretty decent, I think.
Free to play, I guess.
Yeah.
If you don't spend the money. But I want this game made by a studio for it to cost like $50 and be PC only.
You want the theoretical...
Yeah, I want the real Star Trek Space 4X simulator where I have to expand the Federation or whatever.
That would be a fun game. I don't know. I liked the bad Star Wars RTSs in the past. So
Empire at War, fantastic.
Yeah, that game had problems, but I liked it.
Maybe that's what I want. Maybe I just want Star Trek Empire at War 2019. That's it.
I'd play it.
Yeah, that's it. You don't have to play Fleet Command, is what I'm saying. Even though it's Star Trek skin. But thank you for
freeing me from that responsibility.
No problem. Michael, what have you been playing?
Well, I've been trying to figure out lately what I want to really dive into next.
This has been a big debate for you. I've heard about this for a few weeks where you're like, I don't know what I'm going to play after this. And then it was I'm done with that and I don't know what I want to play and I'm not playing anything. It was kind of like a inertia thing.
I'm pretty sure I've decided. I just haven't started yet. But in the meantime, we were lying around the other day. We had a little bit of extra store credit to use at the Google Play Store, trying to find something good to add to the software library on our phones. And I came across the fact that Monument Valley has finally been added to the Android store.
Welcome to the club!
So I started playing Monument Valley.
It's so addicting. Did you finish it in one night?
I finished it over 2 days.
Okay.
I started it yesterday and I finished it today. But I also got there are bonus levels.
Yes.
I don't know if you were aware of that.
There's 2 bonus packs.
There's also Monument Valley 2.
Correct. Yes, I haven't played it yet.
Ooh. Okay, yeah. I didn't pick up the second one. I figured I'd play through the first one and the bonus levels.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, just as a sidebar, I did a little homework. This goes back to episode 14.
You did not.
I did.
Wow.
How did you do that far back?
The search function on our website goes through the descriptions, and you tag descriptions in all of our episodes.
I did a good job.
Well done.
Great job.
I did a good job.
You too, listener.
The Summer Olympics were going on at that time.
Oh, okay.
And JJ had just seen Suicide Squad.
One of those things was better than the other.
We'll skip that part. But yeah, what a great game.
No kidding.
I didn't know that. I need to now maybe get a new game on my phone.
Yeah, speaking of 10 hours to drop into a mobile game to bring you joy, JJ, you definitely do.
Monument Valley.
Definitely play this one with the sound on.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be a on the phone at home game.
Yeah, it's definitely not the mobile game you take out and play on the subway. Well, you could, but just have headphones in, because the music is, and it's not always music, it's atmosphere and things like that. It's a designed experience, even though it's just a puzzler style game. It's just beautiful, and gosh, that game was so good. Now I want to play it again.
Yeah, I remembered the number because it stuck with me, but there's one level 8 in the original pack.
Okay, describe it.
It was just called The Box. And so it starts out, the level starts out with just, you're looking at a box.
Oh, okay.
It looks kind of like a puzzle cube. And you can open the lid in different directions to expose different parts of the box.
Yeah.
And just the way that the box unfolds and then the way that the level concludes is just this beautiful moment of just artistry with playing around with the 3 dimensions of the game.
I don't think we said it on this podcast, and I don't think I'll ruin it for JJ still, because that moment at the end, when you kind of get it, right? Like that they were telling a story.
Yes. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Because there's a lot of atmospheric storytelling that doesn't really wrap up until the last moment of the last original level. Which is cool. This is a good game. That's a really good game. That's a good Google pickup. Good job.
Yeah, I'm stoked to hear that now because I have been interested in playing that game, and now I have a chance.
Well, maybe I have to play Monument 2.
I have a feeling I wouldn't. If you do wind up getting in the second one, I will not be far behind you.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
If people want to contact us, they have to find us at podcast@wewergamers.com or wewergamers.com, the website where all our episodes are.
Yeah.
That YouTube thing will be ongoing as well.
It will be. And it's one of the many things that will be going on this year. And wewergamers.com is going to be focus number 2 after this ongoing. YouTube is like a gigantic ball. We rolled it up the hill and now it's kind of rolling itself down, you know? It's not the amount of work that it was to get it started, but I do want to applaud just for a second all those YouTube streamers out there that make all that stuff looks. I know there's a lot of tools for those guys that, you know, Twitch, or not just guys, I shouldn't say guys, but the people that Twitch and all that, you can export straight to YouTube, and there's a lot of those types of tools to make things easier, but learning about all those tools is actually more work than people think. So,
and a lot of the big streamers have actual people doing that stuff for them because they are streaming for 8 to 10 hours a day and then don't have time.
Right. It's time consuming, even with the tools and having a workflow. Like I have a workflow now, and I just applaud them for doing the work, or the people that do the work for them. So check out wewergamers.com. The search function on it is apparently quite strong.
I'm actually, like, that's really rad to hear that you were able to figure that out, because I just assumed that you somehow you knew it was near the beginning, and so you just started at like 10 and then fast forwarded around.
No, I didn't remember where it was, and so I just went to the search bar and typed in Monument, and episode 14 pops up.
We're going to be on Twitter, right? We're still on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. At We Were Gamers. We tweet on there. Facebook as well. We're still on there as well.
We Facebook.
You can get at us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, We Were Gamers. Instagram at We Were Gamers.
Yeah.
So,
there's a lot of cool computer component pictures on Instagram, as well as other video game related things. It's fun. We're here. We're doing it.